with Jenny and Jay. This is the Noonas Podcast with Jenny and Jay.
Dual set. Heart to heart.
Noonas
Podcast Mida.
Ooh, yeah. How are you liking that new theme, man?
Yeah. Welcome back to the Noonas Podcast. We have a new theme, you guys. Hope you enjoyed our new theme song.
I'm just jamming out to I'm just jamming out to the new theme song and just putting it on loop all day. That was that's amazing. We're into a new phase, man. It feels like we're going into a new phase of one step to our evolution is a legitimate podcast.
I was like, I feel like we're getting more legit because now we actually have an actual theme music to our show. So we're feeling more legit. I feel. I don't know. But yes, this is the Noonas Podcast on the Metropolis Network. I am Jenny, your main host. As always, with me, my awesome co-host, Ginny.
What's up?
And we are back once again with more awesome and wonderful K-pop news and album reviews this week, as well as yet again another Rookiepedia session as we're gearing up for Kingdom Legendary War to start airing in Korea. We're actually recording this a day earlier than we usually typically record our shows. So Kingdom has not actually aired yet in Korea. Where it's actually airing, as I look at my watch here, in about less than 12 hours now. So, which I'm actually excited for.
Yeah, start your clocks, guys. International fans, especially in North America. Yeah, just get ready to set your clocks into early morning hours, and then just wake up all exhausted and just watch your favorite groups, see who gets the best impression for you guys.
Pretty much, it's gonna be
if you're committed.
If you're committed and if you can. I mean, like I said, most of the stuff will be up on YouTube. I've heard a couple places I think are going to be subbing it up. But if I do hear about places, I will definitely be posting it up on my Facebook page. So keep an eye on my Facebook and keep an eye on our Twitter and Instagram, because I think we'll put them up there too. So
for sure.
You guys can find places to at least watch subs so you can kind of know what's going on. Because I'm sure nobody here is fluent in Korean, because I'm not sure it's not fluent in Korean. I may kind of pass by some words here and there on occasion.
Do this podcast to me. That's it.
So I'm getting my Korean's getting slightly better. I can kind of pick up some words here and there, but nowhere near passable yet to actually have a decent conversation in Korean. But but we got we got a quick news story to hit regarding BTS actually making a statement regarding the current AAPI hate situation going on around the world. They actually put out a statement earlier this week that we have a couple album reviews this week. One from one of the biggest, I think probably the biggest female soloists in Korea. IU.
We're gonna be talking about the vocal king and queen of K-pop at the moment.
Yes, between IU and Baekhyun, both dropping IU dropping a full album and then Baekhyun dropping a mini album this week
before he enlists off to the military, because his time is is coming soon. I know his EXO bandmate Chanyeol already enlisted privately, so there's no pictures of him with his egg head. Kind of sucks. No. It's almost like a tradition thing with EXOs, sending off their members off to the military and then them with their shaved heads.
Yeah, no, I know Chanyeol kind of snuck off quietly into the military. He just kind of made it a very private affair. So which was kind of sad, but I understand he wanted to do it privately. So I understand that. Yeah. And then we also actually have Another single release from Jackson Wang of GOT7 fame this week as well. Another English track that he dropped for us too. So we have that right before we get into our third of our six of our Rookiepedia marathon here that we're in the middle of, covering this week the massively popular, I think, third gen supergroup iKON.
The iconic iKON.
Yes, pretty much the iconic iKON, and getting into a bit of their history and basically kind of, I think, digging deep into like their hip hop swagger and just getting into the roots and maybe getting a little bit into, I think, why I think they're on Kingdom a little bit, because it's like digging into the history. It's like, okay, why are these kings on the show? Well, we're going to kind of dig into this. So, but let's start off, like I said, with the news this week. And like I said, we have just a quick story. Basically, a quick thing with BTS. On March 30th, they quietly put out on their Twitter, both in Korean and in English, they put out a statement regarding the current fever, we've been seeing with the Stop Asian Hate or the Stop AAPI hate that we've been seeing, not just here in the Western world, especially in the United States, but around the world as well.
Around the world, and not just Asian Americans, but also like other, people, even in Europe too, because, there's still like a continuing mindset of, like them blaming a lot of Asians for like the pandemics going on. So a lot of situations happening in Europe as well.
Yeah, it's crazy how much I think people have like been blaming Asians on a lot of different things around the world. Even just for COVID, as we've seen the escalation, we've seen the numbers of the amount of like hate crimes towards Asians just in the last year alone. And that's even mildly underrated because we've heard a lot of Asians don't technically or typically report these kinds of things. So BTS put out a statement, and like I said, it was pretty quiet that they put this out because they just kind of put it on their Twitter, and I think it's a really good statement. And actually, I'm gonna, I don't know, do you want me to read the statement in full, you think, Jenny?
Go ahead. I think, it'll be best for people to hear what they say. What they said. So
this is the full statement. I guess I'm going to read the English version because I'm not reading Korean because I still, my Hangul is horrible. So this is the full statement in English. So from their Twitter, it says, "We send our deepest condolences and to those who have lost their loved ones. We feel grief and anger. We recall moments when we faced discriminations as Asians. We have endured expletives without reason, and we were mocked for the way we look. We were even asked why Asians spoke in English. We cannot put into words the hate of becoming the subject of hatred and violence for such a reason. Our own experiences are inconsequential compared to the events that have occurred over the past few weeks. But these experiences were enough to make us feel powerless and chip away our self-esteem. What is happening right now cannot be disassociated from our identity as Asians. It required considerable time for us to discuss this carefully, and we contemplated deeply on how we should voice our message. But what our voice must convey is clear. We stand against racial discrimination. We condemn violence. You, I, and we all have the right to be respected. We will stand together." And that is their statement.
No, I'm just hoping that they, BTS, because they did the same thing with the Black Lives Matter movement last year, since they set up like a charity work for people to donate and raise awareness too. So I'm hoping that they would do the same thing with the Stop Asian Hate movement, and I guarantee that they will put one soon. And I think I also that with this message coming across, I really hope other companies too in K-pop, not just with Big Hit, also with other companies like JYP, YG, or SM could hopefully speak up about it too, since a lot of them rely on promoting not just in Korea but also in international too, because they're pushing for more recognition. So they should, at least have more awareness and hopefully try to, say something and speak up about it.
Right. I agree with that too. And honestly, the last statement, the last part of that is we will stand against racial discrimination. We condemn violence. That whole part basically echoes exactly what they said when they made a statement last year about Black Lives Matter, and they made that $1 million donation to Black Lives Matter.
Right.
So that whole, so basically, they're very much, in promotion of this whole, of stopping racism. It doesn't matter what your color is, what your creed is, what kind of background you have. People should be able to live the way that they are. Like there's nothing that should stop you from being who you are.
Yeah.
And
also with the LGBTQ too, since they also like mentioned that, and they're supportive of it too.
Right.
So
yeah, they've
really
all been very vocal.
Yeah, philanthropy work, and that's why they're still really much admired by a lot of people in the world, and hopefully they'll be able to have with their impact cause more changes, especially from their dedicated fan base, because they're they're like the keys to really help and push the message further.
Yeah, and hopefully this does open the door. I know some people have talked about the fact that BTS is making a statement. Definitely is a huge deal, obviously, because BTS is BTS, being the kings that they are in the K-pop industry, as well as just, in Korea. So them making such a statement I'm hoping does open the doors for other, not just, companies, but other idol groups, other idols to make personal statements. Hopefully. We've seen some others make statements, but I'm hoping it does open up more, and then more can actually start making statements, especially because most of them, I'm sure, have faced discrimination coming to promote here over, in the Western world. Yeah,
I know. I remember because I know a lot of other idols before BTS have also spoken up during what happened, weeks ago. Jackson Wang from GOT7, CL, formerly from 21, even Eric Nam also spoke up about it. I'm pretty sure BM too, BM from Card, because I remember him talking about how he was profiled back then when he lived in the US and almost got shot for it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he'd the news would resonate to him too with his personal experience.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something that I think definitely touches them, very much personally. And yeah, it's great to see them making a statement. And I mean, it definitely resonates super well. And I'm hoping, I'm still planning on making another donation to stop AAPI hate, because this just needs to keep happening. This just needs to keep continuing. The Black Lives Matter still needs to continue. Stop AAPI still needs to continue. This all needs to keep going. This all just needs to keep growing and continuing. We still need to keep talking about these things, because if we don't stop talking about these things, we can't enact change, I think. So, and I'm hoping, with more people talking about it and, making conscientious, efforts, we can see change. And with K-pop becoming such a, more global thing and becoming more and more popular, and that is becoming more, I don't really say it's not becoming widely accepted, because I think still a lot of people still kind of look at it as this kind of weird foreign commodity that's, trivial and just,
it's still going.
Right. Yeah, it's just some kind of weird fad or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, obviously you and me have a passion for it. We've been talking 22 episodes about K-pop. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So I mean, there's something to this. I mean, for what it's worth. So
yeah, but good on them for speaking out. I knew they were I was waiting for them to say something about it. So I'm not entirely surprised that they did. I was like, there we go, finally.
Yeah, I know. I'm like that statement's coming any day now, and there it is.
2, 1.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, if it was RM who helped write it, I was kind of curious to see who did it, but I think
it feels like something that RM would write, though. It really does feel like something he would write.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly. So, but yeah, no, it makes me really happy that they put out a statement, but because it does feel very sincere to me. But with that, I think we should move on. I don't have a good segue from going from that to our album reviews, unfortunately, this week. I don't have a good segue at all. But we should get into our music reviews because, like I said, we have three, pieces of music to review this week. And I guess we're going to start with what came out last Thursday. Because this came out, like I said, last Thursday, but we were recording last Thursday and we wanted to at least give this album a fair shot to review it. So that's why we moved it to this week's episode. So, and we're talking about IU's fifth full album, Lilac, which came out back on the 25th of March. So it's a bit of a delay on this review, but we assure you it is worth the review, I think.
Oh yeah, of course.
So.
I was able to, listen to it this week, and yeah, I was, I was not disappointed with her work, and considering how I have like my own taste when listening to K-pop, with IU's with IU style, was able to get on with her with her own way of with music, and it's such like almost like an art pop thing that she's able to create. So, but we can go on. We can talk about like the music videos that she put out. I was surprised that she did like two for Lilac at this point, and it's like that's a good surprise. This is a pretty pretty nice treat for like her fans.
Right. Considering she did come out obviously before with the pre-release single Celebrity. That was back in February, I think or January, February.
I think
she dropped Celebrity.
Time, yeah.
Yeah, it was somewhere earlier this year because we were like wondering, when is she dropping the full album? Is it going to be a whole thing where it's just going to be...
Listen to me.
Is it going to be more pre-singles? No, thankfully we got a full album right away from her. And yeah, she came back and we got the full, her actual title track from the album, which is Lilac, as well as she did another music video for one of the B-sides, which she dropped, Coin, on Sunday or Monday, I think?
I don't know.
It was a couple of days later.
After, or a couple of days after Lilac.
So it was a few days after Lilac, but it was a really nice surprise for her to drop that music video too, because I actually really do like Coin as well as for a song. It's very different from Lilac. They're two very, very complete different songs, but both fit her very, very well in terms of her voice and her style, I think.
Yeah, I'm actually really really glad to see the kind of two contrasts within her singles like Lilac and Coin were able to be presented. Yes, it goes to show she's able to do a lot of various looks and styles with her and the way how she does her her vocalizations. I think for Lilac it has the city pop sound with a lot of retro, a lot of it's like a love letter to the 80s pop. And this one, it feels more hopeful and playful. It's more like the feminine side for IU to make. Whereas when you move on to Coin, it has the more should I say masculine in its tone, because it's aggressively groovy. For me, personal, subjectively speaking, you hear that kind of the funky groovy sounds with a lot of male bands back then in the 70s, a lot of Kool and the Gang, or those kinds of they were Sly and I forgot the band's name, but Kool and the Gang,
Sly and the Family Stone. Thank you,
Jenny.
You're welcome.
Or Casey and the Sunshine Band, and even had her own rapping segment into it. It's just even the way she dressed too, that raggedy suit and tie, kind of reminds me of David Bowie, which I made a mashup between her, IU, and Baekhyun's comebacks, because some of their sets, or their narrative in the music video kind of it fits together, because they're the Lilac, she's in the train. And then after he's in the train as well. So I did a video you can check out on our Twitter, the full video.
Yes.
But yeah, I like those really cool yin and yang contrast within like those two singles. What about you? You can like,
Yeah, no, I do too. I mean, I really like, because Lilac has this like really, it just feels really, really bright. It feels very spring-like. Like this whole album has this very spring-like feeling, which feels, I mean, it feels perfect for her to release it now.
Yeah, it's like IU embodies like the symbol, or like the, you know, the idea of spring. She looks like springtime just when you look at her.
Yeah, I mean, it fit with
voice.
Yeah, it fits with her voice. It just fits with the sound, because I mean, Lilac is this very bright, colorful. Like, even at times, like she kind of plays almost a little bit in the music video too, with a little bit of the masculine, because she has that one part where she's kind of like kind of imagining like the kind of fight scene in the train, like kind of that action fight scene in the train, which is kind of fun to like see her kind of like trying to play with a little bit of like, you know, again, that femininity and masculinity a little bit within her. And yeah, it's just, it's really cool to see these like different sets and these different signs, and to see her play with this, because the whole idea of this like album, I guess, with her is just like, it's her final album is her in her 20s, because in Korean age, she's now officially going into her 30s. So if you actually look at her age, she's about 27, about to turn 28. In Korean age, she's about to turn 30. So this is her final album in her quote unquote 20s. So, you know, she's getting older, she's getting a little bit more mature. And so it's just like,
it's almost like a coming of age type of like phase in her, like kind of her concept.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, she's been around in the scene since she's been like, I think like 12 or 13.
Right after
she's
Shiny in 2008. Like she came out months after Shiny.
Yeah, she's been around for a very, very long time. And, you know, not just as a singer, but as an actress and as a model. And she's been around.
She's like, she's almost like Korea's darling, so to speak.
Yeah, she's like they call her like Korea's daughter. Like she's like Korea's little sister, because she's kind of grown up under the spotlight. And like, there's been times where she's kind of like shed that spotlight a little bit, and she's like at least like try different things. And I applaud her for trying these different things. Like, that's why I appreciate like the raps in Coin. Like, I appreciate that rap that she tried, because I thought she actually pulled that off very, very well.
Yeah.
I appreciate her kind of delving into R&B a little bit with with that song Troll, which features one of our favorite R&B artists, Dean, later in the album too. Like, I appreciate like her kind of branching out and trying these different things, still kind of keeping again with that like that really soulful, smooth voice that she has.
Yeah, like her, you know, her styles usually has like the, you know, she goes onto like the falsetto range, but it's almost like in a faint, not like as, you know, if you compare it to Baekhyun, like as like open or powerful. She has like the really it's like a dream-like falsetto, you know, tone. Which is like, puts you into, it's like, it's just really airy in the way how she delivers her singing. It's, you know, it's a really cool, you know, a unique take on a lot of, you know, singers, but she pulls that off really well.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a very airy falsetto, but it doesn't feel like it's super airy, like it's like faint. It still comes out very strong and elegant. Right. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's impressive. Like, it's her power alone is just impressive. I mean, this album, like Lilac, the song itself is impressive because it achieved a certified perfect all kill on the charts.
Oh, right.
2 days.
I heard of that too.
In 2 days already. And basically meaning it got to number 1 on all the real time and daily charts in Korea. And it's the second song of hers this year, following Celebrity. That it's done that. So
yeah, keep telling you, you know, she's like Korea's like, you know, angel, Korea's darling, Korea's daughter. Yeah. It's
her power's immense.
Yeah. I also gotta say too, like her way, like how she like her way of singing, like you know, her persona, most of all, like she emits a lot of like she draws a lot of emotion in her voice, because you know, whenever you listen to it, like it brings you a lot of like playful quirkiness, but it also can bring you to like you know, move you into like a lot of emotions too. It kind of reminds me, and she's also able to come up with a lot of like how I describe it as like unpredictable, you know, like unpredictable way she, you know, she sings, because it can sound like sometimes it can sound, you know, kind of weird or off sometimes, but she's able to you know, manage to pull that kind of weird tone into, you know, her singing. It kind of reminds me of I mentioned this when we talked about Red Velvet before, but one of my favorite British singers, Kate Bush, she has like this really art pop, almost like a weird way she sings, and she goes in a lot of like this really straight and high pitched voice, but it still makes you like evoke a lot of like, it's kind of like her style like really transcends you into like another dimension. And I think it kind of goes the same with IU. Her new album kind of reminds me of like Kate Bush's one of my favorite albums called Hounds of Love, because there a lot of those, like, it really makes me want to like, go somewhere and like think of like springtime. And yeah, like some of like the stuff, like she goes onto like the weird roller coaster of like vocal tones was like influential. And the last parts of the album kind of brings like a climax, because it becomes like a really powerful brings a powerful like atmosphere into it, which is Micey. And yeah, it kind of reminds me of like kind of parallels to Kate Bush's like final tracks in her album, which has like a really emotional, powerful way of ending the whole album. And then the last or then one of their last tracks is kind of has like this really calming, like an airy morning feel to it. With IU, it was like Apu. It has like come from like like a really powerful climax with Micey, and then it calms down like like the calming of the seas with Apu. So it kind of reminds me of that with Kate Bush's final tracks with Hello Earth, and then the Morning Fog. That's my nerdy music side going. But yeah, I just really love the way she presents herself with this really unorthodox kind of art into her music. And I also love Epilogue too. It has like this goes back to like the loungy jazz 40s to 50s musical number with the thing, because like the music kind of sounds like she samples a lot of like old timey like music, Hollywood music. Yeah, I don't know how to like describe it well, but I kind of
know what you're talking about, because it sounds like almost like she kind of sounds like it's almost like something like Tiny Tim's Tiptoe Through the Tulips a little bit. It's kind of off of that, but it kind of reminiscent of it. It's not exactly that, but it's very reminiscent. But it kind of has that like very like pseudo 40s 50s
like the
old Hollywood. Yeah, very vintage. And it does, it really finishes the album off especially after the booming majesty that Micey is, because I will not lie, Micey brought me to tears the first time I listened to it, because it's just it has so much emotion behind it. It literally brought me to tears.
Oh yeah,
like, it was one of those moving pieces music.
Yeah, that's how I felt with Kate Bush before, and now kind of brings that back again with IU's Lilac album with Micey. It's like a crescendo. It's like you're coming into the crescendo, the height of like the whole album, and then it goes down with a resolution with Apu and Epilogue.
Yeah, it really finishes the album, like this whole entire story, this whole entire journey, this whole like springtime story that this album is telling. So, and it's a really gorgeous album. I mean, this is her first album since 2017's Palette. So she took her time to come back. She's had some solos or some singles in between, throughout, because even with her last year with the 8, which she did with BTS's Suga, which I still really, really love. Because that was still very, very different, but still fit her vocal. Because that was even different for both of them too, because it was very different from what I've heard Sugar produced in the past, but it's also very different from what I've heard IU sing. But it still fit both of their styles, I think, and complemented their styles perfectly.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah, I wish she could also like I love that, hopefully she does more collaborations with other people. Maybe like a good chance would be like different artists, maybe like rappers or other singers, like different from her style.
Yeah.
I wish we could like see more of that collaboration.
Yeah, I mean, she collabed with Suga, she collabed with Dean, so it'd be nice to see if she maybe starts working with some other different artists outside of like her comfort zone, just to see what she wants to do. I mean, she's getting in her 30s, so who knows? sky's the limit at this rate. But I do also want to mention too, to celebrate the release of her album, she did donate 100 million won, which translates out to about 88,000 US American dollars to different charities under her name and her fandom name, combination of both of them. So she split it about 50-50. So half of it went to the organization called Linker, which helps to support single parent families. And then the other half went to an organization called Snail of Love, which supports and helps provide cochlear implants and hearing aids to people in need. And she donated that all the day of her album dropping too. So as a celebration to her album release. So just a little bit of positivity she was spreading, as well as for their album release too. So
amazing.
But yeah,
it's really amazing that like person and artist as well, and actress. I want to see more of like her her acting career as well. She's like an all rounder. Like she's like a.
I still need to go watch. There is a drama on Netflix, one of the big ones she was just in. It's called Hotel de Luna. I still need to go watch it, but I've heard it's a really good K-drama. That if you want to check, she's in it. I heard it's very, very good. If you want to check out one of the dramas she's most recently in, it is on Netflix. So
cool. Yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to see it.
So,
what's it called again?
Hotel de Luna.
Hotel de Luna. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty recent. I think it's like 2018 or 2019. So it's a pretty recent K-drama.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
On my list.
I know I've my K-drama list is massive. But are there any other songs that you were in that definitely tickled your fancy? I know, like I said, My C and Trill were definitely two that hit me, as well as besides Lilac and Coin. Were there any other songs that? That's
pretty much what I have. Like I'm pretty much the same with the your preferences. So Lilac, Coin, and then My C, because it really reminds me of like the kind of art pop that Kate Bush would do in her in her previous works before. So and Apu as well. Apu and Epilogue. I love
those last three just together create just a perfect it's like a climax and finale to this whole entire
a narrative cohesive narrative formula that you make in the story, because you get the beginning, and then you go to the rising plot and the climax, and then the resolution where it all comes down.
Yeah, it's a pretty good sized album too. It's about, I think it runs about 40 minutes long. So it's a pretty decent listen too. And like I said, Celebrity is also on the album too, her pre-release single that she had released before. So it's, I think all in all about 10 songs long. So it's a pretty good sized album.
Right.
But yeah, I really highly do. I think she did a very good job with this, and it was well worth about the 4-year wait for a full album from her.
Right.
So, but I think we should move on to our next release, which came out on Friday the 26th, and that's from Jackson Wang, again of GOT7 fame. Kind of continuing on with his most single releases he's been doing as of late, and his newest single, LMLY, or Let Me Love You. I guess that's what it.
Leave Me Loving You.
Yeah. Was it Leave Me Loving You or Let Me Love?
Yeah, because
Leave Me Loving You.
Loving You.
Leave Me Loving You. Yes. So, but it's stylized as LMLY as for the title. But another one of his English release tracks that he has done. He's actually done now 3 of them in the last year.
Yeah, it feels like a trilogy at this point, because at first it was last year with 100 Ways, and then then later on it was Pretty Please. And I know he did another single, but I forgot if it was in English or if it was in connection to this ongoing story that he's trying to produce here. And the reason why with Leave Me Loving You, it feels like a continuation from the 2 previously mentioned with 100 and Pretty Please, because it feels like he has the same setting, the same look to Jackson's character. And I'm pretty sure that actress is still his love interest still, is it?
I think it's the same. I think it's the same actress.
Look, she could look different from I don't know. She look different from her the other two.
Yeah, I mean, basically, he's still kind of playing with this idea, at least with through all the 3 music videos and through all these songs too. He's playing with this idea. I think of like a lot of heartbreak and hard love and stuff. Well, I mean, Pretty Please. I think Pretty Please has been the most positive. I think out of all the songs.
It kind of has like kind of like an arc within some of his singles, because 100 Ways. You guys have to really recommend like checking out 100 Ways and Pretty Please. Like with 100 Ways, it starts off with like it's almost like a period piece, like a historical war epic period piece where he like comes out from the dead, and then he goes on to find his to resurrect his late lover so they can be reunited after like this kind of like war that was like happened that kept them apart. And then it kind of ends in a bittersweet moment because they lay together and rest in the same grave after doing like this really reunion dance. And then we move on to Pretty Please, where it felt like their characters were reincarnated. That's my opinion. They were like reincarnated for like the modern times, but it's like a new meeting, because I don't it's like a new way for them to meet up for the first time, and it's kind of almost like a really fun meet cute type of ditty. And it's almost quirky too, because trying to impress the girl, like doing his his dance at the middle of the night. And then when you get to Leave Me Loving You, it goes on to like this really relatable heartbreak and unrequited love. It it kind of deals with people not getting like the right person for them, or not making like enough of a move that it was almost like too late for them, and they like move on to another person, and see that marry off to another person. It's kind of, like the video or like the music, it really got me, because I'm just like it kind of like goes back to like my personal experience. I'm pretty sure you've had yours too, Jenny, but it goes on to like brings back to my memories of like me being like in love with like this one person, and then didn't get the chance because he found someone else, and he married up to like another woman. Oh, I felt like the way with with Jackson, and then kind of felt and like last week was like an off week for me, because I've been like really struggling to trying to get with like a person. So like when I released the single, it couldn't have come at a better time. I was like, made me feel more depressed like during that week. So that's why I was like, oh man, like I didn't feel right. I was like,
it's like it came at the right time, but it came at the wrong time a little bit.
Wrong time. It's just like,
because
it's kind of like it's just expose some more of my personal stuff, but like the thing that like Jackson put out, it's going back, it's like relating to how I'm dealing it currently. So
but I mean, if you talk about the music too of Leave Me Loving You, it's this very like techno, like kind of almost 80s, a little 80s synth retro pop sound to it that and it fits the aesthetic of the music video too, because he's playing a lot, because between Pretty Please and because he's harkening back to his love of Hong Kong cinema, especially between Pretty Please and Leave Me Loving You, because he's a huge fan of Hong Kong cinema. So like a lot of the stylization choices and a lot of the camera angles and the camera cuts and stuff reminisce of those movies and of those love stories that he watched when he was younger. So and as a fan of movies and have seen, some Hong Kong cinema, I haven't seen a ton, but I've seen, some here and there. Like I could kind of pick up on some of those references a little bit, and, it's stylized really beautiful. And the way he tells the story in the 4.5 minutes we get in the music video, like he tells the whole story. I can tell a whole movie's worth of a story in 4.5 minutes, like, because Jackson wrote the script for it and he helped direct the music video. And I think he did a good job telling the story very well.
Yeah, really, and it really goes like the music as well as like the way he filmed, to be like those old 80s Hong Kong films. It really brings me back into like a more nostalgic feeling into it. I said it. I mentioned in my notes, I kind of felt like something that The Weeknd would probably do. That kind of like this retro synth style, and like the music video as well. And those two really complement each other as well, and it really again brings back like an old timey feeling, like you're back, you're looking at an 80s like a movie or like a music video.
Yeah, I mean the retro sound, because you kind of hear that like kind of like the retro synth in the background of the music, and just like the electronic sounds build up and underneath it, and just Jackson's just really smooth voice over it, and you just hear the utter heartbreak and the regret of like not being able to like figure out this love that he has between the person he's singing about in the song. And I think it's a very good song. Like I said, kind of has been talking about this like heartbreak and stuff throughout these songs as of late. And I think, just like, I love the fact he's been kind of showcasing like this love of Hong Kong cinema through these last 3 music videos between 100 Ways, Pretty Please, and Leave Me Loving You. And it's really, really cool, I think, especially as a fan of movies and a fan of cinema, to see these references. So,
also the movie, the music also brings back like because it also talks about unrequited love, heartbreak. Like the music, he's able to make the music feel like atmospheric, and it feels like you're longing for something that's missing. Because like the minor, like how he puts into like a minor tone, brings you into like that emotional state too. So that's why I really felt that. Plus, like the one that I, like my personal experience going so far is just like, oh, you gotta hit right there, man.
It's like hitting right in the gut. No, I think he did such a great job with this. Like it, and you really feel it. And I hope, now that he's focusing more on solo work, now with the whole kind of GOT7 situation hopefully kind of figured out, where everyone's kind of off doing their own solo thing now, currently, and now he's focusing on his Team Wang label stuff. It sounds like, I know he's talking about, I think, eventually releasing another full album in Chinese, so hopefully we'll maybe see some stuff from him in Chinese, as well as some more stuff in English from him. So we're kind of seeing a little bit of both from him. So, because I love to see some more, I think, work from him in Chinese, because I know he's been doing a lot of releases currently in English, but I love to see him do more in Chinese, but we'll see, or, in his native language, but we'll see what comes next. But I think go ahead.
Like his I really hope he makes another like album that he can release, and hopefully he's doing pretty well with the singles, and hopefully he'll be able to make another album.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And if you're a fan of like Hong Kong cinema, or like a fan of movies, like I do highly recommend you go check out the music video. I think you really, really appreciate just the artistry he put behind it. So
yeah, for sure.
Let's go into the other king we were talking about this week, because if you're talking about the queen before with IU, let's talk about the king with Baekhyun here, and his
EXO's main vocalist, or like one of the 3 main vocalists, and he really proved that he is pretty his no one can really replicate his own his own music, his own singing. He's like it's unparalleled at this moment.
Yeah, no, he just came back. I'm going to put it here. He just came back with his 3rd mini album, Bambi, with the title track Bambi. And
just to let you know, Bambi, not the freaking deer like the character Bambi. I actually found out the meaning of the name, because it's like a 2 Korean word that Bam. I think Bam means night, and B is rain, so it's night rain.
Okay, so because he does reference like Neverland and Tinkerbell in the song too. So I'm like, there's getting a ton of Disney references in the song. So I'm like, I was confusion.
I was close to making a Bambi, like a Disney mashup with the thing, but I went with the other thing with IU with instead. But I'm still considering doing something in the future, and other projects in relation to Bambi Bam.
Yeah, that might be wrong on a lot of levels. But
was like the moment where like he was like getting on with Faline, or like his dear girlfriend.
Wow. Oh my God. Anyway, let's talk about the song, shall we? Before we go off on this crazy train, since we're talking about trains again.
Oh man, we'll try. But when it comes to with Baekhyun though, like, because I know it's his. I think it's his last solo mini album before he heads off enlisting the military. So that's what I thought. Like, I think you can like pretty much hold yourself out before like, heading off to the barracks. Just one more one more for the road. Just like do something like the one of the most central albums right now in K-pop. Like the one of the most the sexiest concept you can pull off in this album. Do it.
I mean, he kind of laid it all out on the table for us, so it's like
laid himself.
Kind of laid it out for us, and it's like, here, you can have this all until I'm back. So thank you, much appreciated. But I mean, because you talk about the main title track Bambi to begin with, and just how groovy that is, just with Baekhyun's R&B like vocalization, like he is one of the kings of R&B. I think his soloist, hands down.
I mean, to a lot of K-pop who are like a lot really inspired by a lot of like soul music, about a lot of like R&B in particular. A lot of SM artists are managed to pull that off really well, and Baekhyun is like the clearest example on how to create like such a really perfect replicate of like an American style R&B neo soul, even a bit of like a loungy jazz type of genre, and his voice, because he's such a one of the most powerful vocalists right now alive in K-pop, and he really brought that into this album in particular.
Yeah, he really did. Like, I mean, throughout the whole entire album, like the whole album is so much like smooth, like neo soul R&B woven throughout. Like even like. Because you start with Bambi, and like with the like kind of the low link guitar that's overlaid under this just like bass riff like throughout the whole entire song, that like it's super understated, and you were able to like showcase his vocals so well, because his vocal range is insane. From his lower register all the way to his falsetto.
No, when talking about falsetto, I think you need a new type of range for it's not a falsetto. It's like a uber, like a mega banshee, like a really banshee that you would listen to, like that wouldn't make your ears bleed. But no, like the way they produced he produced the album. It's the music. It feels more subdued. Like it's really pulled back. Whereas you compare it to his previous two solos with City Lights, his first one, a lot of like heavy booming bass at the beginning, and then with Candy, it still brings a lot of like this really modern EDM percussion beat into it, like a more of the neo R&B that you would hear in the radio. But in here, he just really pulled back into like just like fewer instrumentals, like a bit of a piano, the guitar, and something else. It really complements well with like a good balance of his really powerful vocals, and I think it really meshes well, balances well together, because it's a bit quiet, like with the music, but his vocals shoot straight up into the roof.
Yeah, like I said, he's just able to really showcase his vocals, not just in Bambi, but I think in the next track after that, All I Got, which I think is what Ginny's referencing with his falsetto, because like his falsetto goes like up to like falsetto and a half. It's insane. As Ginny's dying now.
Sorry, why did I do that?
That was a bad idea. It's his floored is Florence is an understatement of how I was when I first heard him doing that falsetto. Cause like, I mean, I've heard K-pop idols do falsettos because that's a pretty common thing, but like him doing that and just back and forth was just wow.
Effortless with him. It's almost like effortless with, you know, how he like belts out those really, you know, this high range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not even like I think that with the late, you know, shiny member Junghyun, like you know, he has his own way of like doing like really high falsettos, but with Baekhyun's case, it's just like no, it's just like really high pitch, and he's able to have like this really goes high with as well as like with in comparison to other like male where they still have like this really deep voice into them, but with Baekhyun he can go pretty like the really high range. And oh man, it's just like, man, Mariah Carey and Ariana Grande, if they listen to this, like, they'd be like shit their pants.
Mariah Carey and Ariana Grande are shook, literally shook. Oh my god, like it is, I like, wow. And just like, again, it's just like there's a whole neo R&B like soul throughout the album. Like I just love how the fact like he definitely like took the instrumentation and really made it understated, just to really focus on his vocals this whole entire album.
Yeah,
just because we obviously saw with City Lights and with Candy, his first 2 mini albums, like how much like production was behind that, and this just kind of felt like really stripped down and just really kind of was got a good chance for us to really see him as, you know, as the vocalist we know and we love.
Yeah, and he really
gorgeous.
you know, hones you know, his skills, and you know, goes to show how how good he can, you know, he can be able to pull that off like no other. And like I couldn't think of any other I couldn't think of any other artist. Like, I'm not gonna pit like, you know, in, you know, as a competition, but I don't know any other idols who could, you know, pull that off with that kind of technique. Yeah,
I mean, I can't either.
Yeah, he's such a gem in like you know, in the K-pop industry, like almost like almost underrated type of recognition so far, even though he's been getting a lot of like accolades last year with his you know, Candy, the Light album, which Candy is, you know, is under. So hopefully he'll be getting you know, more recognition and more praises before he goes off and does his military service.
I do too. I mean, we don't know. He's been hinting at enlistment. He hasn't officially said he's enlisting yet, but he's been hinting at it because he didn't really have a promotional schedule for Bambi set out for anything, because he's been kind of like unsure of what he's exactly doing. So he's kind of hinting at the unfortunate E-term enlistment. It's coming, and we know it's coming because his birthday's in May. So, and he's turning 28, which is the age you have to enlist unless you're BTS and you can wait till you're 30. But yeah, I mean, I think he left his fans. He left EXO's and any of his just, you know, fellow solo fans like a really wonderful gift, you know, to hold them over. Because Candy and, you know, the album Delight came out last summer.
Yeah, it was last year, almost like in the springtime or in the beginning of summer.
Yeah, so it was like, I don't think it's even been a year since that came out. So like we got albums from him pretty quick. So I mean, like, I'm really impressed considering, you know, again, his work with SuperM and stuff too. So it's really like, I was not expecting this, you know, to get another mini album from him before, you know, him going off into the military. But I think
it's a fitting way for him to like do like one more powerful sounding, you know, album. Before you want to like see him again for like, how many years, like a year, a couple of years, that kind of length.
About 18 to 20 months, yeah, something about that. Yeah. So because if he goes in the list, it's going to probably be end of 2022 before he's out of the military. So
yeah, at this rate, it feels like a final send off. You know, his personal like see you later type of type of piece. So just like built my way into the barracks.
Pretty much. Any other songs off of Bambi that caught your fancy besides All I Got?
Dude, like after listening to like the sample tracks, I don't know if like it was a good idea for me to hear those or listen to those, but I kept on going back to All I Got. Like not just like the high pitch like high like the third bridge where he belts it out completely. No, even like the beginning, like the music he produced with that, like it's pure 90s R&B, like something you can hear from TLC or like from Babyface or even Usher and Neo. Like that it's like it's so groovy and it's like total baby making music. Like I'm so sad like his music and even One Ho's it came out so late from our like Ho Anthem episode. It would have been like such a great contender and just like put it like added in there.
We're going to have a Ho Anthem 2022 edition. I have a feeling next year. Be ready. Ho Anthems 2022.
This year, what Ho Anthems we got? Like, okay, One Ho.
Baekhyun. Any other Ho Anthems that come out this year? Because I'm sure there'll be more Ho Anthems that come out this year because there always are. So always are. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a great one. Also, one of the tracks I do want to mention too, I really do like Amusement Park, which he did pre-release earlier this year. I just really like how beautifully done that song is. It's just really it's very dreamy, majestic sound. Like it's very different, obviously, from All I Got being baby making pop music. But it's got this very dreamlike quality to it that really does fit his vocal intonation really well. And just the almost like Kailupi music he has fitting behind it, especially towards the end of the song, just fits super well. And especially how they kind of have him distorted out at the end. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. I felt that it's like a pretty charming music. What I felt like his 3 solo acts, it feels like a trilogy because with City Lights, it feels like more of like something you would hear in the morning, like the music that a lot of the music that it brings you, like it feels like a morning mood. And his second album Delight, with Candy, is like the title track. It feels like something you would play in the afternoon, so it's like an afternoon type of afternoon delight. Excuse me. Sorry, but,
I see what you did there.
Sorry. My dad jokes. My dad jokes are like kicking in, and with Bambi, like a lot of the songs, it puts you into like a really great mood for the night. Something it's a really like either you like drive off into the night listening to the song, or something that you would get to have a groove on, or have get some little action with your significant other in a good night.
Yeah, no, I agreed. I very much agreed with that. So, yeah, with that, that's our album reviews for the week. All 3, I think, great song choices for the week. I think we had some really great music come out this week from some really great artists. Just some great solo work come out as we're getting into April, and now having some comebacks get announced come April, which I'm really, really excited for. So look forward to some rookie groups coming back in April here, which I'm pretty excited to review, as well as some other big stuff.
Label mate too from Red Velvet, Wendy, which will be doing another great vocalist from SM. She's from vocalist from Red Velvet, and I cannot wait to hear her solo debut.
Yeah, that's next week. Actually, she drops her solo's work on Monday, as well as a surprise we got too. Hoshi from 17 is dropping his solo mixtape on Friday, which we just found out like literally last Friday. He was like, "Hey, guess what? I'm dropping a mixtape."
The teasers too is like it's so mysterious.
And Hoshi's known as a dancer and like is a very, very good dancer. like really good dancer. So I'm really interested to see like what his mixtape is going to be like in terms of the sound and like his vocals, because his vocals I think are very, very solid too in 17.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious and interested to see what exactly we're going to get off of Spider, which is the title of his mixtape. So but I think we should get into our Rookiepedia session for the day, because we're already going on almost an hour here in the show. So
the hour mark. So
we're hitting the hour mark here. So we should get into
another hour for our Rookiepedia session.
As my boyfriend would say, 2-hour show. I'm hoping it's not a 2-hour show. But in case it is, yay. But we should get it. My boyfriend likes to joke me with that. I don't know why, but we should get into
in the K-pop.
Yes, I don't know. He puts up with me. I don't know why. But we should get into our Wikipedia session for this week. We are going to get into this week, again, the massive iconic group. And I'm not saying it as a pun. Maybe I'm saying it as a pun or as not as a pun. You decide. But we're going to talk about the group iKON of YG Entertainment fame. And yeah, I think it's a very interesting story, I think, with iKON, kind of where they've been, what happened, and where they're at now, I think. So, because we've talked about them a little bit on the show, because they just came back earlier this month, because with the comeback single. It was like the same day, I think, as ATEEZ, when ATEEZ dropped their album, or around the same time as ATEEZ dropped their album. So so I guess I'm sure just get into it and
let's dive into them.
All right, so like I said, iKON is a 7-member. Well, it started as a 7-member group from YG Entertainment, debuting back in September, back on September 15th, 2015, with the pre-single My Type. Again, I say they debuted as a 7-member team. They are now a 6-member team. One of the members has left the group, and I will get into why later. The current 6 members of the group include the oldest of the group, Jae, Kim Jin-won, who is the main vocalist and lead dancer of the group. The Bobby, Kim Ji-won, who is the main rapper, sub-vocalist, and face of the group. Then you also have Song Young-hyung, who is a sub-vocalist, visual, and center of the group. Then you also have DK, Kim Dong-hyuk, who's the main dancer and vocalist. Then you have Junee, who's Koo Jun-ho, who's the main vocalist and lead dancer. And then you have Chan, who is your maknae of the group, who is a sub-vocalist of the group as well, whose real name is Chung Woo. Most of them go by, actually all of them go by stage names in the group. And like I said, we did have a 7th member of the group, and that was B.I. Whose real name is Kim Han-bin, who was the former leader of the group, as well as main rapper and vocalist of the group. And also
a lyricist is, as you said, right? They were a lyricist of the group?
He basically was the main songwriter and lyricist of the group as well. Bobby did also help with a lot of the songwriting as well, but B.I. was like the main producer and lyricist of the group until he left the group in 2019. I will get into why he had to leave the group in 2019 later in the episode. But just to add, how they started out, they first showed up in a reality survival show called Win, Who Is Next. It's pretty much a common thing for how groups are formed. Is they all come up from a survival show, and they'll see who are the final contenders are until they become a really solidified group. And they also showed up with Mix and Match, which later had them form into their final lineup as iKON. Sorry. Yeah, I'll say so. Yeah, so with Win Who's Next. So that was in 2013, and at that point it was just B.I., Bobby, Jay, Junee, DK, and Song. at that point. It was just the 5 of them at that point, and they were formed as Team B, competing against Team A. They were both YG groups competing, and then they had to basically compete with public performances, and there was a public vote, and it was just to decide which team is going to debut first. Was it going to be Team A or Team B? Well, unfortunately, Team A won, and that actually was the group that became known as Winner, which is another group under YG. Another group I actually highly recommend you should check out. Winner is a very, very good group as well. So they kind of went back into their training status and just kind of went back to the drawing board, just kind of continued training. And then in June of 2014, then they competed on another survival reality show called Mix and Match. So at that point, 3 of the members of iKON were set, and that was Bobby, BI, and Jay. And so they were set to be permanent members. And at that point, they were going to find the other 4 members of iKON because they were going to debut as a 7-member group. And so the other members, so the other 2, at this point, so yeah, hold on, just trying to think here. So, so it was 6 of them. So 3 of the members were permanent. The other 3 members of Team B, so Junie, DK, and Song, had to compete against 3 other trainees from YG to compete. And so out of those 6 trainees, only 4 of them are going to be members of iKON. Thankfully, the 3 original members of Team B were also joined the group, as well as that point was going to be Chan, who joined the group as well. Hilariously enough, one of the members who competed on Mix and Match is Hoseok, Hongsok, who is now a member of Pentagon. He's a former YG member and now is actually part of Pentagon over at Cube. So a little trivia fact for you. So with that, and the fact of the matter is, so that finale was so big to vote the final members of iKON in, to that point that they actually crashed the servers at YG for the final lineup announcement, because it was so big and so popular. So there was a lot of buzz about this group coming in to them debuting. And at this point too, we should note that YG was like at the top, I think, of the K-pop world in terms of the industry, I think.
Yeah, and just so you know, again, YG is pretty much really heavy and reliant on a lot of like hip hop based music style. So a lot of their groups, they have they're formed into like more of like a hip hop way of like representation. You can see with Blackpink, they're really big into like the rapping with Lisa and Jennie, and then before them is 21. A lot of like really great rappers, and the most famous one would be Big Bang. It felt like with iKON, it felt like they're going to be like the next Big Bang in the group. It felt that way before.
Yeah, there was a lot of buzz, and it kind of felt like they were going to be like the next Big Bang. They were set up to be that. Also, to know too, before they debuted, one of the members, Bobby, was competing also as a trainee on another competition show called Show Me the Money, which is a underground rap competition show in which a lot of underground rappers compete in the country. It's a very, very popular show. It's actually currently, I think, on its like ninth or 10th season. I think it's on its 9th season. It's on its 9th season. And to note, and I don't know if I've talked about this on the show, but there's always been a lot of strife with like hip hop rappers in Korea between idols who are rappers and the non-idol rappers. Like they see idol rappers as like selling out and all this kind of all this stuff.
Yeah, like so BTS is like rappers, like they kind of got like not really called out, but they some of the they called BTS rappers, and like they were like didn't take it too well.
No, there's a very infamous video about this one rapper who went after RM and Suga like I think it's like right after they debuted and said that they weren't, they were posers and stuff
rappers.
because they weren't real rappers because they sold out and were going to be training and stuff, and they were wearing makeup and all this stuff and blah 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 blah. And well, obviously look at them now, but
let me read a cipher for you.
Also, the amount of times, like I said, Suga has actually rapped about that, not just as Suga, but also his alter ego Auguste on his mixtape. So I'll point that out too. But yeah, no, I'm going back to Bobby. So he competed on the third season of Show Me the Money as himself, and at this point he's 18. And he's still a trainee at this time for YG, and this is in 2014. So this is just like before debut. He is the only idol to actually compete on the show and win the show. He actually won the season.
I know. I'm just like, you guys, I recommend you just checking out the clip of him and trying to come up with a lot of improvisations of the name Bobby, and then he goes into a bunch of vocabulary of with a lot of B sounding words like Bobby, 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 baby, baby. It's something like that. But he goes on pretty fast, and then people were just really shook at oh my god. I mean this guy's really no, he's really amazing with with his flows and what he comes up with for his rap freestyles as well.
Yeah, his freestyling skills are insane. I mean, to know too. I mean, they're all from Korea. Bobby was born from Korea, but he actually moved to the United States when he was young. I think he lived in Virginia for a little bit, and then came back to Korea to train and become a trainee and stuff. I think around when he was 14 or 15. So he has, he knows English and stuff too very, very well. So he's able to go back and forth between English and Korean very, very well. I think he's one of the few kind of like RM who can, go back and forth between English and Korean super, super well and keep that flow going super well. And yeah, he can just spit fire super fast, and he's one of the best freestylists I know out there. Yeah, you should check out some of the clips from Show Me the Money season 3 because it's sick. It really is sick. His talent.
Yeah, and also to add, I know you didn't like his newest song, "Why You Mad," but for me, it was almost a guilty pleasure for me because I know I get your criticism of it being too unnecessarily loud. Everything is so loud, the production and his rapping, his rapping tone. But I still I gotta commend for his flows, man. It's still pretty. It goes in pretty smooth, and it's really it's one of the cleanest rap flows I've heard for a while. So I gotta commend that. That's what I really admire from the music, and overall all the production kind of really hyped me up. Whenever I'm pissed off, and then I just I listen to that, and just get myself pumped up for the day.
Yeah, I mean,
guilty pleasure.
I know. I was a little mad because it was just a little aggressive for me. But I mean,
are you mad?
I mean, he was mad. He was hella mad. Yeah, I mean, because Bobby's released a couple solo mixtapes. So I mean, if you want to check out some of the stuff, he does have a couple mixtapes out there too that he's released solo work. So because obviously he did released it before he actually cut his promotion short last time, so he could get ready for Kingdom. So whoops. But yeah, so besides all this pre-debut stuff, so they come and they debut in late September, or I guess late 2015, September 2015 with My Type. It's a success. They get over 1.7 million views in the first 24 hours of the music video. The song, it's a triple crown on the September 24th Gaon music chart, the 39th week of 2015, which means it hit number 1 on the digital download and streaming charts simultaneously as a rookie debut song. They got their first music show win on Music Core without even having performed a music show
Yes.
stage yet. They haven't even performed. They hadn't even had their debut like showcase concert. They didn't have their debut showcase concert until October 1st or October 3rd, excuse me, because they didn't drop their debut album until October 1st, or I should say their debut half album, because YG does this weird thing where they kind of do these like half album stuff and then they kind of piece it together.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how like YG, like for like their lack of a better term, like they create like limits like their artists into having like a lot of like, you know, songs that they could deliver or present, but they can still make gangbusters of success. You know, when it comes to, you know, Blackpink, they have like a few you know, songs that they have on their discography, but they still made like a lot of recognition, money for the industry. So I don't know what their secret, like I don't know what YG's secret is, you know, when it comes to like with their groups and just like getting them into like a lot of, you know, success in just like a short amount of time. Like, man,
I know it's crazy.
Like YG, you know, YG was like one of the top, you know, industries at the time. So I think, you know, like their name and like I guess like their momentum, you know, pretty much sells it, and it, you know, still helps with, you know, with Blackpink, you know, currently as like the active group in their building. So
yeah, that, and well, now too at this point with YG Treasure is like still trying to kind of carry them into mantle on a little bit too, their current rookie group under YG. But so this point, so iKON is finally is debuted. So they finally get their first half album debut is on October 1st. They get to their first debut concert, which is called Showtime, which is on October 3rd. Their debut showcase concert is at Seoul Olympic Gymnastics Arena, which is one of the biggest arenas in Seoul. Most K-pop artists dream of actually performing at this arena. iKON debuted at this arena, like for their first show. That's how big of a debut this was for them. Like, that's how much like YG's name was at that time, and how much like they were big just coming onto the scene, like, because they just kind of blew the doors off, you know, bursting onto the scene. And they burst on the scene in full hip hop like swagger with I mean, with My Type, and then, you know, with Rhythm Ta and Airplane and all these like really, really like in your face, just like super hip hoppy, like party jam kind of songs, like just super, super fun songs that like just gets you up and grooving.
Like hype music almost.
Pretty much, like it's really, really hype music. Like their first stuff, like in their Welcome Back era, is like really, really hype party music. Like it kind of feels a little Big Bang-ish a little bit in a way, kind of like, you know, Fantastic Baby, Bang Bang Bang, you know, a little bit. I kind of harken to that a little, but you know, but it's still like you can kind of see, you know, where they're kind of starting to establish themselves a little bit. I mean, to note too, iKON writes all their stuff. B.I. and Bobby wrote everything for them. Like, so B.I. was the main producer on everything. I mean, there was still some in-house help, you know, with YG and having other help come in, you know, with other YG artists. Like they had, you know, on other projects, like they had Psy come in, they've had Pablo from Epic High come in on other songs, like here and there. But like every single song, every single writing credit and every single song has B.I. and Bobby on it. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, it goes to show, like, again, like the myth, or, you know, like the myth of idols, you know, being helped by other like producers to make their own music for them. You know, like there are many exceptions, BTS and now, you know, iKON before, and it just like goes to show how, you know, a lot of like they have a lot, you know, how they have a lot of talent and, you know, creative ideas that they're able to be inspired from, and you know, very admired, you know, from like you see artists like them being able to make a lot of like compelling really great, like pieces to bring to the crowd,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, like I said, since they had such a huge debut and they just came onto the scene like in such a huge way, like they spent basically a bunch of like 2016 and 17 touring. And they toured all over Asia, like, Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, Thailand, like all across, Asia. They also competed on a Chinese dance survival program. Again, kind of keeping the theme. They've always competed on survival dance programs. Again, also being on Kingdom. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. They were on this Chinese dance survival program called Heroes of Remix, with Psy actually serving as their mentor on that show too. This is about late 2016.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that Psy used to be part of YG until he moved to his own company.
Yeah, this is before Psy left YG and started P Nation. But the funny thing is they were the most winning artists on the show. They won like 3 weeks straight, and they kept getting really, really good reviews for their performances because iKON's known for their live performances. That's why they toured so much, and they're like, you can tell like their swagger and just their immense stage presence when you see them perform live. That's why like their tours were selling out, and they were just such in high demand to go see.
It's amazing. Like in their almost 5-year career, they went out to like receive a lot of praises and accolades. And just like they were able to get like get a lot of like awards, like 30 plus awards in a 5-year span of their career.
Yeah, not just in Korea, but they were getting awards in China and Japan and stuff too. Like, the crazy thing about the show about being on Heroes Remix is so they were on there and they kept winning. They won 3 weeks straight. Unfortunately, the THAAD missile crisis happened, which is the crisis in which Korea allowed the U.S. to put that the missiles on soil, and China got really, really upset about it. And that's basically when they kind of basically axed anything that was Korean in the country. So basically shut down on, all K-dramas, K-beauty, K-pop, anything in the country. So basically, iKON got completely edited out of the final episodes of the show.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, because of the ongoing Korean-Chinese strife of that situation.
It's still going, which is still like an ongoing thing.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of like restraints with a lot of idols and like even idols from China, because like they're not able to promote with like their other members from Korea anymore. And then and then also like a lot of political things that like nudging it through like the entertainment business, and it's pretty messed up.
It is. It's pretty crazy. I mean, like I said, this is now 5 years that we've been seeing this. So because it's 2016 that happened, so 5 years, and there still is like really nothing has budged since then. So. But yeah, I mean, and then like I said, 2017, they're still releasing some music here and there, but they're still doing a lot of touring. They have a stadium tour in Japan, or dome tour in Japan, and they're the fastest idol group to have a Japan dome tour, excuse me. Which is insane because they were at that point I think just barely getting out of rookie status, to the point that they were having a dome tour. And they were seeing 22 concerts in 8 cities in Japan, and they were releasing I know at the point Japanese remixes and stuff of their music. Like I think they released almost everything, re-released everything in Japanese, and just putting out Japanese remixes and stuff too for their Japanese fans. And so it was just, they were always constantly just promoting and touring and going. And then you get to 2018, and that's when Love Scenario comes out. And
I heard like that friggin' music everywhere, and from variety shows.
Oh my god!
Like even like crack videos.
You could not escape. Like this is when I was getting into K-pop, and you could not escape this song. It was everywhere.
It's like, how with Stray Kids with like their Miro or like or My Case, and with BTS, like Blood, Sweat and Tears. Yeah, this is their like
or
their
Idol.
magnum opus. Yeah, for iKON. This is their magnum opus.
Oh, yeah.
Love Scenario is like their peak of their career, like a hit song.
So it's the lead single off of their second full album, Return, and it breaks a lot of records. It leads the Ghana weekly music charts for a record-breaking 6 straight weeks to start off 2018. They were the first artists to ever achieve a feat like this in Korea. Also topped the digital charts at the end of 2018. They were also named the top K-pop music artist for the first half of 2018 by Genie Music because they topped the Genie charts for 35 days straight with that song because it just was everywhere. Like there was nothing that could touch this song.
Yeah, this is their dynamite. This is their dynamite back in their year. Like, I think like a lot of like the show wins is just pretty much a shoe in for her Love Scenario.
Yeah, it like you could not escape anywhere. Like that summer, like I cannot escape Love Scenario or Doo 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 from Blackpink. Like it was those two songs all summer. It was the summer of YG, I swear. For me, that was that summer. It was so bad. It was crazy. Like I mean, and I love Love Scenario because I think it's such a cute, fun, like kind of boppy song.
It's a big change up from like their their really hardcore hip hop roots and then to the more of like the poppy more of like a bit of a bubblegum type of feel into their into their works.
Yeah,
which I'm like noticing like they've been slowly transitioning to that type of like genre, not from like the hardcore hip hop, but more of like a slow pop ballad range or type of area.
Yeah. They kind of transition. Yeah, they start transitioning away from like the really hardcore hip hop like they had when they debuted, with in the Welcome Back series, and then with the New Kid and their whole New Kid series, which basically stretched from like 2017 through 2018. It was very it was very like started kind of becoming a little bit more poppy. It wasn't, I won't say it's super poppy because it's still like it has some hip hop roots to it because like B.I. and Bobby's raps I think were so super utilization, and they still had some hip hop like heavy tracks on those albums, but yeah, you kind of see start getting more of these more like sentimental ballady kind of vibes, but they started definitely more utilizing the vocalization of the rest of the members really well, I think.
Right.
Like I think you get started showcasing the other vocalists super, super well at that point. I think you started focusing more on, Jay and Junie's vocals a lot more in the group because I think they both have really, really good vocals. And even DK's vocals too, I think they focus on a lot more as well. So even Chan's like falsetto too, because Chan's got an insane falsetto. But at that point, like, yeah, you get to Love Scenario and it's just like they're like kings, like they're winning. That's when they won a ton of awards, especially at the end of the year, because Love Scenario was like the song of 2018. It just won a ton.
I didn't get that. Could you
shut up?
Siri. Yeah, I think I should like step out and have Siri become like the new co-host.
No, Siri's just being greedy.
Love Scenario, but I didn't get that.
Yeah, I mean that was just like Love Scenario was just insane. It was just an insane song to kick off 2018.
No, I can't get that song out of my head now.
Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, and then they're at this high with Love Scenario, and they're like, they're getting all these accolades and stuff, and like they're doing super well, and like they finish up with this whole New Kid series, and everything's super, super well. And then mid 2019 strikes, and we hit June 2019.
No, I'm kidding. No. It's more like like a bumpy road, in their history and career.
Yeah, it's definitely a bumpy road. So at this point, June mid-June 2018. This was kind of an insane time because this is like the whole time we had like 3 scandals happening at once, because this was the whole Wonho, Woojin, and BI scandals were all happening at the same time. And we're going to talk about Woojin in a couple weeks when we talk about Stray Kids.
Oh yeah. I'll talk a lot about that. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
We will just about that.
You will give the receipts on those cases. No, I'm kidding.
Oh no, I have receipts on Woojin. No, no, but so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyway, no, we'll get to that when we talk about Stray Kids in a couple weeks here. But no, so it came out in June 2018. Again, from our favorite tabloid Dispatch, the TMZ of Korea, basically TMZ of Korea, that there were old text messages that had popped up that were pinning BI, who was asking a known former trainee of YG and also a known drug dealer. And she's known to supply drugs to both trainees and idols around YG. He had apparently asked her about weed and LSD. And because those became public, and with all that, he voluntarily, I think he said he voluntarily released himself from the contract that he had with YG, and he was released from YG because it was turning to a scandal, and he was let go of the group. And so basically the group lost their leader, their lead producer, their main rapper, their lyricist.
They're like their backbone of like what made them like so well known, so like successful in their careers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it came to light eventually. I mean, it came to light eventually, like it was supposedly he was also evading police arrest. I don't know if that whatever came with that rumor, because I'm not sure exactly what all that came with, but he stated that he asked about it in a moment of weakness, but he never bought weed or LSD. And he did submit eventually to a drug test by the police, and there was no history of him ever, or any traces of him ever taking weed or LSD in his body. So,
but it was still, and in terms of business standpoint, it was still too late to bring him back. Right. And like I know, we wish for like members who got caught in a scandal and just like, but are found innocent, to be back, or like to have like them reinstated into like their old companies. But yeah, I don't know how difficult it is for in K-pop to like do that, as well as like the reactions from a lot of jealous fan base who would either want them out or want them back. So it's right, it's a very difficult situation.
And it's different, obviously, between international fans, where we're a little bit, more lax about drug situations, and they are about, Korean fans who are a little bit more strict about
passionate
more passionate, especially. And it's very interesting too, especially because there's been other drug instances, especially with like Big Bang, because there's been members of Big Bang who have been caught with weed and have had obviously not been kicked out of Big Bang. So there's been a lot of
that's weird. That is so weird.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird that it was a one-time thing and he's gone. And so, I mean, like I said, B.I. said is a prolific songwriter. He has over 65 credits on the Korean Music Copywriting Association. He's a full enlisted member of the Korean Music Copywriting Association. He's like I said, it's over 65 songwriting credits. He has every single songwriting credit, even their last mini album, I Decide, which he was not featured on because at that point he was out of the group. The stuff he had worked on is on there. He's still credited as a producer on those songs, even though his vocals are not on those songs, but he's still credited as a producer on 4 of the 5 of those songs. So, the good thing for BI is now he's, he kind of took a break away from everything. He's now kind of starting to do some solo work. He, just dropped his first solo track. And actually, I think doing it is actually all the proceeds for this is going to charity. It's called Midnight Blue. It just dropped on March 18th. I do highly recommend you check it out. It's a very slow, kind of ballady song. It's really, really beautiful song, actually.
Hopefully I'll check it out soon.
Go check it out. I really highly recommend it. I actually listened to it with my boyfriend because it came up on my playlist and we both listened to it and it was actually really, really good. Nice. He's also featured on Epic Highs, mostly this album Epic Highs Here. He's featured on the track Acceptance Speech. And that was like the first time I had heard him in a while because he's featured on that track and he's a really, really good rap that he lays down on that track. So, and he also has been dropping demos on SoundCloud. He's been mixing demos and stuff under his under 131. So he's been producing stuff kind of on the side. He's also been just kind of doing other stuff on the side too. So he's kind of slowly trying to get back into producing again. I'm hoping he will be able to produce more because I think he is a very, very, very good producer and songwriter.
Yeah, what made them so successful is pretty much thanks to his efforts, since he's the backbone of iKON, the one, what made them into stardom and what led them to success because of his production and his writings of the music. And it's almost such a huge blow, I guess, for iKON and their fan base Iconics to lose such a vital member. But I'm really hopeful that iKON would still be able to continue on, without his influence, and still be able to, lead a successful career without him. But I hopefully, and the same time, hopefully, they give BI more chance to, have his own road to achieve. Like you see with Wonho from Monster X, who has like a similar situation. But being let go, even though he was found innocent, but he's still doing a really successful solo career, and hopefully, that continues with both of these artists.
Yeah, exactly. So, and their most recent single "YYY" was obviously one of the first ones they've produced now without BI. So we're kind of now seeing this new chapter with iKON post BI and seeing where they're going to stand, I think, in this career, because now I think it's probably Bobby mostly, because I think Bobby's mostly kind of taken up the leader role now that he's officially been named leader. But I feel like Bobby's kind of taken on the leader mantle. Not that he's officially they've never really officially named a new leader in iKON. Per se, but I feel like he's kind of taken on that leadership role a little bit.
De facto leader.
Kind of like the de facto leader of the group, and the de facto songwriter of the group now too. I mean, him and DK are like the ones who wrote the last song on I Decide to finish up the album. And so that's the which was Flower, and that's the first song that doesn't have BI has a BI credit on it in iKON's discography. So at that point, that's kind of the transition to them changing over. So
yeah, so really hopeful for their their ongoing career, and can't wait to see what they'll be able to pull off in Kingdom.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what they do in Kingdom. Like I said, being the third generation, standing kings that they are in terms of being there. I mean, a lot of the teams who are on on Kingdom have been inspired by iKON. So it's kind of, they are definitely kings. And so, and having being on many competition shows in the past, they kind of have that maybe a bit of an edge to some of these teams because they've been able to compete before. So it'll be very interesting to see how they compete against them and see maybe how they'll stand against some of these newer fourth gen groups coming up, like the boys and like ATs.
SF9.
And SF9, and see how their performances stand up against some of these newer fourth gen performances. So
yeah, I'm still amazed, and I'm glad to hear how the older the older third generation groups such as B2B and iKON, they're still have a really strong fan base that could still lead them into victory, hopefully in Kingdom, and yeah, no, I'm just really glad to hear like they still have the kind of like the same momentum from the past, and hopefully that will be able to like boost them up into more recognition for like the newer fans who don't know either B2B or iKON. It's like, oh, who are these guys? Better like check them out.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, for newer K-pop fans who are just kind of getting into K-pop and who obviously follow more fourth gen groups who are like more active now, who can see some of these third gen groups, and she's like, oh, okay, maybe I should go check this out and maybe check out this music and stuff, and hopefully see a little bit more. That's what I'm hoping. Like I said, this is what I'm hoping Kingdom does, is like it opens people's eyes to seeing more groups and seeing just opening their eyes more into the different sides of K-pop, because there's just so many different genres and aspects to K-pop out there. I mean, this is just a small sample size. Obviously, most of it's very performance driven, because I think most of the groups here are very, very performance driven. We've seen, but I think it'll be very fascinating to see, especially again with their swagger and their stage presence, seeing where they stand. Again, with these younger groups coming up. So I look forward to it. I'm looking forward to the first episode and the first couple episodes and the first, and I'm looking forward to the rumored crossover, because of the rumored group they're crossing over with and possible crossover song. So
we're not going to last from like those kinds of performance where like the groups will all switch into like covering other like some like other contenders like hit songs. No.
Yeah, if the rumor proves out to be true, I might literally die. Supposedly. But should we get into our recommended playlists for iKON?
Man, for sure. A lot of my selections are just like pretty few. I think the ones that I picked are from like the hit songs, except for Love Scenario. Love Scenario is not really my type of song, but it's sorry, no offense, but
it's okay. I put it on mine. It's fine.
I'm more into the hardcore, like hip hop, for iKON. So my first one from their Welcome Back album is Rhythm Ta.
Oh yeah.
Okay, like moving on to like their New Kids era. So we have the New Kids Begin album. I have the one that introduced me to iKON is actually Bling Bling. Like, I mean, before I found out that they were the ones who also did Love Scenario, Bling Bling was like my personal introduction to iKON. And then with their next album from New Kids, so New Kids Continue, Killing Me, which I think that's the instrumental that they used during the performance film in Kingdom, I believe so.
I think they did. I think they did like the
outro version of it.
The outro version of it, and they kind of did like a traditional Korean instrumentation version of it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So that's like what the one that I like, what hooked me into their music. And my last one from the I Decide album, which is their most recent one, is Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my picks for some iKONs.
So I have a few more because I kind of dug deep, and I kind of wanted some B-sides to add some extra to their discography, just to kind of fill things out for you. But going back into their Welcome Back, which is basically their like rookie dump of new music when they came out, besides Rhythm Ta, which I do highly recommend. You should go listen to Rhythm Ta. That is such a hype track. Go listen to Dumb and Dumber. That's an insane music video. We should just go watch, because it is stupid and crazy and insane and just fun. And just a fun hype party track, period, too. My Type, their debut song, it was really fun track too. Anthem, which is just a B.I. and Bobby track. It just really, really focuses on their raps and stuff, and it just really just showcases their raps very, very well. And then Apology, which kind of is one of their slower songs. When you first started hearing, kind of you get a taste of like what I think you get to them now. And then going into the beginning of their New Kids era with New Kids Begin, I'll add the second song off the single album, which you added Bling Bling. I'll add B-Day on there as well, because I think that's a good song. Just both of those songs were really, really good off of Begin. Off of Return, Yes, I will add Love Scenario because I think you do need to listen to Love Scenario. Yes, it'll be stuck in your head, and I regret nothing.
No, it's not my style, but I get like the popularity of it.
I like it. It's a fun poppy bop of a hit. Like it really is. It's just it gets in your head. It's an earworm. So it's just a really, really cute song. One and Only, which is a BI solo. It's I think a really good song as well. Jerk and Don't Forget off of Return. And then off of New Kids Continue, adding off of Killing Me, which is actually one of my favorite songs of iKON as well. And I add Freedom and Just For You. And then from New Kids The Final, I'm going to add Goodbye Road. And then from the New Kids repackage, I'm actually going to add I'm Okay, which is another one of my favorite iKON songs as well. That's actually like one of my first like iKON songs that like always popped up on my playlist whenever I was listening to K-pop at work. Like that just is one of my favorite songs. It's just the groove on that is super really good. I just really highly recommend I'm Okay. It's really, really good. From I Decide, Dive. And then I'm just going to throw YYY. I actually now I have more of a renewed appreciation for YYY, their most recent song that they dropped after kind of digging deeper into their discography. So I kind of turned around on it a little bit. So I did throw that on there a little bit too. And I mean, appreciate it because I mean, I'd be really interested to see if they're hopefully going to actually like have a full comeback, maybe post Kingdom, since they haven't released a full album since I Decide last year. So because they've kind of all been just kind of doing their own stuff on their own, whether they've been doing like YouTube covers or like side projects or whatever right now. Right. So at this rate,
and hopefully Bobby like comes back to like promoting his solo after being so rudely interrupted from Kingdoms.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, because I think his his like last solo I think was actually doing pretty well in the charts too before he had to end his promotions prematurely, unfortunately. So. But that is iKON in a nutshell, and I hope we gave them justice because. So Iconics, I'm sorry if we did not give them justice. I apologize.
We'll be able to like share more of like their success or more of like some information that we haven't covered too. So
yeah, because I know like one of the members is like a former child actor, and I know a bunch of them actually have like pretty popular YouTube channels that they do content and stuff on too. So like there's lots of different stuff that they do. Like they all have really, I think, fun and amazing content that they provide out there on the internet for their fans. So like really go check them out. I think they all are just kind of really fun. And like I said, it's going to be really fun to see them compete on the show and just see them stand up and see where they stand like in this current outcropping of new K-pop that we're seeing. So
right. And to be able to like adapt or like adapt to like a more fourth gen style or a fourth gen era of music, because I know SHINee was able to pull that off well with Don't Call Me, so I can imagine them being able to succeed in that type of area as well.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting because we're going to be getting more into this fourth gen stuff next week, talking about SF9, and then obviously getting into Stray Kids and the boys, who are definitely, I think Stray Kids for sure is definitely one of the, top of the fourth gen groups up there with, I think, TXT and ATEEZ. In terms of like kings of the fourth generation currently. So yeah, that'll be fun to kind of see. Like I said, I think because we have some of the pillars of the fourth generation with Stray Kids and ATEEZ currently, and then you have some of the kings of the, we have a king of the third generation with iKON. So that'll be kind of fun to see where they stand. So, but I think we should, I don't know, I have nothing else to wrap it up this week. Should we wrap it up?
For sure. Well, first off, before I do my own plugins, I would like to say shout out to Hanan Bismuth, also known as Harry Bosek, to some of our inside communities. He does a lot of like really great remixes and music. So I really want to thank him so much for coming up with our theme for the Noonas podcast. Go check out his YouTube channel, which we will add in our in our description in our episode. And also yeah, also just to remind you guys can keep continuing to spread awareness and, donate to a lot of like charity works for, like to stop AAPI hate or stop Asian hate and be able to like help end those racial prejudices around the world.
Mm-hmm.
To sum things up, or to end things all, you can follow me on Facebook at Ginny Liano, or on my design pages on Facebook at GINNYLEANO Designs, or on my Instagram page, which is just at Ginny Designs. Hopefully, you'll be able to find all of my personal pages and links throughout those pages. And back to you, Jenny. What are your some of the pages you can follow?
And you can find me over on Facebook, facebook.com/Jenny Matasek, JenniMatasek. Hopefully I can share some stuff going on about Kingdom, whether on Facebook or on Twitter and Instagram. Check me out there too at Chaos Bulldog. You can also check out our show pages, Noonas Podcast over on Twitter and Instagram at Noonas_podcast. Don't forget the underscore. Like I said, we're going to try to share some information about Kingdom if you're interested in watching the show, whether you want to watch the live.
Doing memes, on Twitter and Instagram. So maybe some something good for a change, like some good updates on other music shows.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Or if you're interested, like I said, I'm hoping to post either videos of the actual performances or, links to watch the show or anything like that too. If you're interested, I'm hoping to share links like that too. You can also then find the Spotify playlist too for this week's episode of Rookiepedia under the links of our show pages as well. You can also check out the video form of our show over on Facebook at the Metropolis Collective. Thanks once again, guys, for hosting our show over on the Metropolis. We very much appreciate it. This, again, has been another episode of the Noonas Podcast. Kingdom's right around the corner. Oh, my God. I hope the fan wars don't start.
Happy April for April 1.
I hope there are no fools at this episode tomorrow. I swear.
Or
I'm hoping
the biggest fools that we actually think is going to be like a successful show. No, I'm kidding. Hopefully, there'll be no rocky roads ahead in the show. There's more controversies that will befall until this lovely show.
Besides the other controversies we've seen on the show already. Oh, Lord. And also, hopefully no fan wars, because I don't want fan wars.
Be a multi-stan. It's better this way.
Be multi-stan.
So,
it's
love every idols. Love every group.
Love every group. It's a lot easier, so.
Don't be narrow-minded, guys.
Pretty much, yeah. Don't be narrow-minded. It's a lot more better for your sanity. Honestly, it really is. I think. Yeah. But with that, I think we're going to go start off with a good old fighting.
Fighting.